You've been exactly where you've been for the past 3 to 5 years because you kind of made it. You reached some level of success. You've put your head down, you worked, and reached the life that society tells you is okay. Everything looks good on paper, but deep down you know you were always meant for more. But if you tried to go for it, you know people would call you crazy and stupid for ditching what you've built, and you sort of agree with them, so you push those aspirations to the side, to the back of your mind, and try to ignore them. And life distracts you because whenever you actually try to do your work, the allure of social media and the instant gratification it brings has fried your mind, and now it's a scramble to get anything done because of how easily you get distracted. You keep failing to build strong habits. It's easier to just follow the path of least resistance and watch Netflix every night. It's easier to eat out almost every day when you should be saving and eating healthier. It's easier to fall asleep at random times just for you to wake up still tired. You say you'll fix these things, but you know you're just speaking empty words. You know better, but you keep choosing the easier life and call it normal. You know you need to change your life, but you're just not mad enough. Let me tell you a story, and if you're one of those people who get easily distracted, I challenge you to watch this video all the way through because it might just be what you need. Yesterday, I went on a 4-mile run since I'm training for a half marathon. I did my normal routine of warming up and finding a rhythm. I was feeling a bit frustrated from the day before, but nothing I normally can't handle. But in mile 2, I was feeling something bubbling up towards the surface and noticed that my body started getting hotter. By mile 3, I had the most negative explosive thoughts ever, thoughts that propelled me forward when I didn't want to run anymore. Thoughts telling me that I needed to ignore the world and everyone around me. I felt anger like I hadn't before. Genuine anger at myself, at the world, at my family, and my friends. Most people won't ever admit this. This anger stems from me being mediocre. Mediocre because I always had this vision of myself of where I would be at my age knowing what's possible. But because of my personal failings, I haven't been able to reach those heights. I haven't been able to sacrifice what I need to, and because of that, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. Taking a step back, I'm in an okay position in my life considering my age and circumstances. So normally I would just brush this off as intrusive thoughts. I tell myself, oh, I'm just being too hard on myself. I'm comparing myself to others too much. I should be grateful for what I have and what I've accomplished. Which I still am, by the way. I don't want this video to take that away from you. But every piece of anger from the past 2 to 3 years erupted during this run. I wasn't trying to push down my anger whenever it would pop up, but I would always try to play it cool. And so I never truly showed that side of myself to myself. But at that moment, I couldn't contain myself. I wanted to burn the world because I wasn't where I needed to be. And that frustration, anger, self-resentment is fuel if used correctly. You see, the world always tells us to play it cool, to be nonchalant, to not show too much effort because, ew, you're trying too hard. It tells us that we need to play it safe, by the rules, and to keep our head down and work while we accept what we're given. To some extent, this is not bad advice. But I know you clicked on this video for a different reason, and that's because you don't agree with that sentiment. You want change because you don't want to continue living the life that you know isn't for you. But you've tried everything to change, from reading self-help books to changing your habits to listening to podcasts and motivational videos, but nothing sticks. I've tried all of this, and while I have seen some results, I have to be honest with myself and admit that it didn't get me as far as I hoped. And that's because all of that is supplemental. These are things to oil the machine, but it's not the gas that starts the engine. Think back to the story I told you about. When I was having those explosive negative thoughts, I got home, closed myself off from the world, and had one of the most productive days I've had in years. We're always told to enjoy, to not compare, to think positively, but what about the negative emotions we all have? Anger is fuel, and we need to use it as such, but this is deeper than that. My intense hatred was my nervous system finally refusing to keep living a lie. Because deep down we know the truth. We know that we should be in a better position, that we're capable of accomplishing our goals, keeping up with our habits, and turning into reality whatever we dream, regardless of what other people who aren't even trying will say. That's why my anger surfaced at that moment. I was able to accomplish radical change in such a short amount of time due to my seething hatred. I hated the position I was in, and the only way out is through. My hatred was screaming at me to no longer ignore what I've been doing subconsciously. Once I had the undeniable truth, my anger became fuel to propel me forward so I can eventually get back to my true or positive baseline. And that's why we hear so many stories of people becoming successful out of spite and hatred. They're using these negative emotions as energy and they're channeling them outwards. But it's not a good idea to be there all the time, or else we get consumed by it. But people need to harness this dark side that we have. It exists for a reason. If we're too far into the darkness, then we become miserable, self-loathing people that no one wants to be around. I've been there before, and you probably know some of these people in your life. And do you really want to live like them? Of course not. And on the opposite side, if we spend all of our time in the lights, positive side, then we're suppressing our emotions whether we realize it or not. And the thing about emotions is that you can't actually suppress them. They'll always come back to the surface when we've had enough and then we lash out, which is equally bad because you don't want to hurt the people you love most. Emotions never disappear and we have to work through them. That's what I was feeling on my run. This darkness reveals the truth about us, so we're forced to grow or else we remain in the hell that we made for ourselves. Anger is fuel, an emotion that we feel and can use to lead us towards our goals. But we have to be smart about it and conscious as to how we use it so it becomes our tool. But this is the secret to causing real change in the shortest amount of time possible. It's not by reading another book or hyping ourselves up with a motivational video. It's by doing the real work of looking at ourselves in the mirror and feeling all of the displeasure we've put to the side. Or else we live in this fantasy where we think we're doing okay, and while it might look like that on the outside, it doesn't feel that way to the most important person, which is ourselves. So stop numbing, stop pretending, and sit with the dissatisfaction long enough to hear what it's been trying to tell you. And while we live through life, there's a lot of things that try to suffocate us and cause us to fall asleep, such as predatory gambling apps or social media platforms designed to keep you hooked. If you want to fight back and learn how to actually stop doom scrolling, then watch this video next and reclaim your time and your life. Let's get psyched.